Run.
Well, welcome to a very different On The Run. I'm here with Ben Blaschke, Managing Editor of IAG. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Andrew.
And we are sitting in the lobby. You can see the casino behind us at City of Dreams Mediterranean here in Cyprus. We're very excited to be here. We only have one microphone, so we're going to have to share it, Ben.
Yes, we are.
Good. So, look, comments on City of Dreams Mediterranean. You've been here 4 or 5 days. I've been here 2 or 3 days. You're heading off shortly. I'm here for a few more days. What are your thoughts?
You're pleasantly surprised. I mean, I didn't really know exactly what to expect, but it's actually a very beautiful property. The more time I've spent here, the more I've come to like it, actually. It is February here, so it's not peak season. Would love to be here in summer, enjoying the sunshine outside. But yeah, look, lovely property. I've had a really good experience here, and I think this property has a lot of potential moving forward.
Yeah, I've also really enjoyed it. I've been pleasantly surprised. We had heard rumours that it was a ghost town here, but it isn't. There's actually quite a lot of activity here. The service has been fantastic. Everybody's super friendly. The hardware is great. As with all new properties, there's a few defects that they're correcting, but overall I think the hardware is really great. What about, we've been doing a little bit of tourist stuff in Cyprus. What about Cyprus as a tourist destination?
Yeah, very interesting. We got a tour of Limassol, which is the city in which City of Dreams Mediterranean is located. We did that yesterday. Looked around some archaeological sites, went to the city, looked at the new area on the marina that's been done up very beautifully. Lots of nice restaurants. Very interesting culturally, interesting food, really great. And then today we actually went to the capital city of Nicosia and went up north a bit. We looked around, saw one of the C2 casinos, of course, one of the satellite casinos that Melco runs here in Cyprus. And look, I've really enjoyed the experience. It's been fascinating.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I've never been to Cyprus, and therefore I've never been to Nicosia, but going there and crossing the border right in the heart of the city was a very interesting thing to do. I didn't know what that experience was going to be like, so we went on to the other side. And so I guess watch out for some City of Dreams Mediterranean content in our March issue of IAG.
Yep, keep your eyes peeled.
Okay, so what we're going to do 5 stories from the week, and we're going to do number 5 right here, and then we're going to move to other locations for the other 4. And the number 5 story this week, New Zealand to launch AML proceedings against SkyCity. The New Zealand Department of Internal Affairs came out this week and announced that they're going to file civil penalty proceedings in the High Court for historical non-compliance with AML provisions. What can you tell us about this story, Ben?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is somewhat similar to what's happening with SkyCity Adelaide in Australia. They're facing, a similar AUSTRAC investigation, although they're facing a penalty. Well, they've made a provision of $73 million. This one in New Zealand, apparently the maximum fine they can face for historical AML breaches is 8 million New Zealand, so 4.3 million US, I believe. So not a massive financial hit, but certainly just adds to the complexity, and maybe some investors might be wondering what's going on here with SkyCity.
4.8 million US to be precise, and that 73 million should stress that's Australian, so I think it's about 45 million US. So that's all major Australasian casinos have all been whacked in this regard. What have we got? Crown, Star and Sky. What does that say about casinos in Australia and New Zealand?
Perhaps it means that some bad practices were moved around by some employees that worked at each. Who knows? I mean, obviously they've all been found out to be partaking in some practices that perhaps they shouldn't have been. Obviously they're all trying to clean it up, but a bit of a way to go, I think.
Exactly. All right, well, now we're going to move on to number 4, so we'll move to our next location, so see you shortly. And we're back here at Olea Mediterranean Restaurant at City of Dreams Mediterranean. Lovely restaurant here, Ben.
Soon to be a steakhouse as well. They're converting it soon.
So if you want to get the Mediterranean experience in, get here quick. Anyway, on with number 4 for this week, and it's from Thailand. Everybody's super interested in Thailand. Integrated resorts, of course, on the agenda in Thailand. Could be the next big thing for our industry in Asia. And there's a new government in Thailand with a new committee that is investigating the possibility of integrated resorts in the land of smiles. And this week we had a story about them requesting a 120-day extension. What was that all about, Ben?
So, of course, there was a previous committee under the former government that put together a report which recommended the development of up to 5 casinos across Thailand. This is basically a new committee under the new government that was established in October. They had 120 days to put together their own findings. Obviously, they're reaching the end of that this month, but they've requested another 120 days, so a bit more time to fully research. And from what the local media in Thailand is reporting, the sticking point at this stage between committee members, a couple of points. One is exactly how to regulate locals gambling. What should the rules and regulations be around that? And also public versus private sector. Should these casinos, integrated resorts in Thailand, if approved, be run by the government or by private sector? They're the two sticking points at this stage.
And I suppose it's a 60-person committee, so if you get 60 people together to make a decision, you're going to get probably 60 different points of view. Perhaps some comments from us on that, a little bit of analysis and opinion from IAG. The two sticking points being locals and public-private. Let's take the first one first. Locals gaming. Now, some places go to the extent of banning locals gaming completely. Vietnam before the trial, Korea, other jurisdictions. We find that when locals gaming is completely banned, then those integrated resorts are not necessarily particularly financially viable. They can't grow to a certain size. Really, they're limited to perhaps about a $1 billion investment rather than the $3, $4, $5, $6 billion investments we're seeing when locals can gamble. At the other extreme, you've got full open slather locals gaming, as we see in some jurisdictions like the Philippines and Macau, and see how successful they are. And then there are ones in between, like Singapore, where locals have to pay to get in. So I think our view on that would be try not to make too much friction for locals going. If your purpose in creating a new industry is to get rid of the underground casinos, to get rid of illegal gaming, because if you put too much friction in place, as we've seen perhaps with the Vietnam trial, then those illegal casinos won't go away because locals can't really get to your property. And we've seen a bit of that sort of dynamic in Australia too, Ben.
We have actually, and I'm sure that we'll be reporting on that this week on an incident in Australia. But yeah, in terms of Thailand, as you say, I mean, I think that if you want to put in certain requirements for your locals, fine. But as you say, I don't know if you'll eliminate underground casinos anyway, but certainly you should provide locals with a viable and more attractive option, which would be the whole concept of bringing in legalised integrated resorts.
And the public-private partnership, thoughts on that? Oh, sorry, it's not a public-private partnership. It's a discussion over whether they should be publicly run or privately run, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, you and I have discussed this. I think that going private is the only way to go. You're going to get expertise, you're going to get public investment, you're going to get all the things that you want to have there. Government, there's a lot of issues there around doing that way, so I'd say private all the way.
Well, governments are in the business of running governments. They're not in the business of running casinos. So I think that would be the point there. And we've seen, excuse me, the voice is still quite affected by ice. I think we've seen, how successful private properties, private casinos have been in Macau, in the Philippines. And, when you've got private companies, private enterprise running these things, and you've got a lot of competition, you tend to get great outcomes. All right, well, let's move on to number 3 at yet another location here at City of Dreams Mediterranean. And we're back, and we're here at the lounge which is sort of connected to the lobby and also connected to the main gaming floor here at City of Dreams Mediterranean. A lovely place to come and have a cup of coffee and a meeting, as we did with Grant Johnson, the property president, yesterday, didn't we, Ben?
We did, a very pleasant spot to just relax and, as I say, have a cup of coffee or a lovely tea.
Exactly. And number 3 for this week is a story from the Philippines. The Philippines House Committee, or a Philippines House Committee, has approved a bill, not a law, just a bill, to ban pogos. as we know, regular followers of IAG will know that there's been a lot of activity in the Philippines to try to get rid of the pogo industry. I guess they fall into two camps: people who want to get rid of the pogo industry and people who want to clean up the pogo industry. Ben, you've written a lot about this in recent months. Your thoughts?
Well, obviously, as you say, there is a faction that is very anti-pogo, and obviously this bill has been sponsored by two of those reps. I can't recall the actual names of the bill themselves, but yeah, essentially looking to outlaw pogo altogether. I mean, good or bad? I mean, what do you think of that?
Well, it comes back to the same old theme that we've actually talked about twice already on this on the run, which is, okay, you ban, you drive underground. And I think the idea was to regulate this industry, and they made this pogo industry, which of course we shouldn't be calling pogo, we should be calling IGL, but old habits die hard. And I think everybody knows it as pogo. And of course what's happened is the pogo industry was full of illegality, and there were a lot of companies trading under the brand of pogo that really weren't even online gaming at all. They were human trafficking or love scams or crypto scams or you name it. And some people in the Philippines have had enough and said, we want to wipe this industry out. Others say, no, we need this industry. It's good. It puts money in our coffers, and if we don't have it, we'll drive it underground. And I think all credit to Padcore under the new leadership of Alejandro Tenco. Well, not so new now, over a year. Is that right? No, not a year yet. August he came in, didn't he? August last year.
August the year before.
Oh, was it August the year before already? Wow. So he's been, wow. So he's actually been here for quite a while. He's got 6 years in total. So, he's getting up towards 25%, I guess. Yeah. So all credit to him for trying to clean up the industry, and I think this is the way to go, because otherwise we'll be back to the start. We'll be back where we were at the beginning.
Yeah, and I guess we'll see. I mean, as you say, Padcore has stated, Mr. Tanko has stated that he wants to support pogos, clean them up and support them. And as from what I understand, at this stage at least, President Marcos has pretty much followed that line as well. So I guess we'll see who wins the battle.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, let's move on to our next location for number 2. See you in a moment. And we're back, and this is Aura Restaurant at City of Dreams Mediterranean. This is where we've been having our breakfast and some of our lunches, Ben.
Yeah, it's great. Very nice buffet breakfast and a lovely seafood buffet lunch on Sundays as well that's been introduced recently. So very enjoyable. I recommend it.
Yeah, I can attest. The breakfast buffet is excellent, very good standard. Lots of options. Anyway, let's get on with it. So, number 2 this week. Well, of course, it's Chinese New Year, and Macau has been experiencing some absolutely fantastic numbers. I think day 3 was 217,000 approximately people, and I think the first 3 days combined just over 500,000, 502,000 people. Very good numbers, Ben.
Yeah, and I think after 4 days, just over 700,000, and so the 217,000 was a post-pandemic record, but of course the following day was also 201,000, so consecutive days over 200,000 visitors. That's massive.
Yeah, I'm quite sure they're the only days over 200,000 since the pandemic, since 2019, or since early 2020, I should say. One thing to notice, though, here at IAG, we always give you a little bit of analysis and thought around these things rather than just simply reporting the news. And that is 365,000 of the 502,000 for the first 3 days was from mainland China. That's 73%, and I'm sure that would have persisted in day 4. And Hong Kong, I should say, 103, I think it was, 1,000 out of the 502, which is 21%. These numbers very, very consistent over the decades, actually. When we first came to Macau some 2 decades ago, it was a little over 70% from mainland China, and maybe a little after 2 decades ago, once the full liberalisation had taken effect. But let's say for the last 15 years, it's been pretty much a little over 70% from mainland China, a little over 20% from Hong Kong, maybe 3 or 4% from Taiwan, and forget the rest. And those numbers just don't seem to change despite all the MGTO and the Macau government's efforts to do so.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think that Chinese New Year is naturally going to be skewed towards mainland and Hong Kong visitation to Macau. But as you say, I mean, I don't think we're going to come to a day where there's 40% foreign visitation, really, are we?
No, and the problem for that is, of course, geographical location. I mean, if I was to wax a little bit lyrical, a little bit more, I'd refer to my master's thesis I did in the University of Macau, which determined that the number one determinant of success and profitability of casinos was the local nearby population, the catchment feeder base. So, you've got over 100 million Chinese in Guangdong province, all of whom love to gamble and all of whom can't gamble in a casino unless they come to Macau. So I think much as the MGTO and the Macau government might like to increase foreign visitation, they might be able to get it up from 3, 4, 5% to 8, 6, 7, 8, 9% maybe, but I don't think, as you say, Ben, we're not going to see 40% any time in our lifetimes coming to Macau. All right, but nevertheless, great numbers, absolutely fantastic numbers for Macau. Macau is well and truly back after the quite negative reporting we did on Macau, quite rightly, in 2022. It's a 180-degree turn, and Macau is pumping now, and it's all mass, almost no VIP. Even the VIP that's claimed to be a VIP is not really VIP. So this is high, we will talk about that another day, but this is high margin stuff and great profitability for the casinos, Ben.
That is correct, and I think the MGTO was looking at about 960,000 for the 8-day Golden Week holiday. We're up to 700,000 halfway through, so I think we're going to beat that number. I know that the rest of the week is supposed to slow down a little bit, but I think we're going to get well over $1 million for this 8-day Golden Week holiday.
Well, we're going to smash that number, aren't we? And I mean, traditionally, day 1 and day 2 aren't the biggest either. Normally starts to pick up day 3, which it has done, because people are with their families day 1, day 2. So I think we're going to smash through $1 million, and over the 8 days, gee, what are we at? 700,000 now. I mean, if you double it, you get to 1.4 million. I don't think we'll get to that, but maybe 1.125 million, something like that. So well done, Macau. Anyway, it's time for us to move on to our last location and the number one story for the week. See you in a moment. And we're at the final location here at City of Dreams Mediterranean, my room. And it's a lovely room it is too. Nice big room. And Ben, you've had the exact same room. We've both got junior suites. And what you can't see is we're looking out to a beautiful view over there, but we might take some B-roll footage of that in a moment. And our trusty editor Oscar might just cut that in for you so you can see some of the view from here, which is lovely, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, I should say exact same room on a different floor, so we're not staying together. But yes, exactly the same view on one floor down. But yeah, looking over the Mediterranean and the beautiful pool area here. We've got the Salt Lake off to the right. So yeah, very, very lovely spot.
Ben, you could do a lot worse than staying in the same room as me. No, definitely not the same room, but the same room on a different floor. Yes, indeed. So let's get to our number one story. And it was just this morning for us. It'll be tomorrow for you guys, or yesterday for you guys. MGM China, great results again all year. They've been stacking up great results. Adjusted Property EBITDAR with an R on the end. They like to take the rent out at MGM. Were record numbers for the last quarter of 2023 and the full 2023 year. The number was $262 million US for the quarter, and the full year came in at $867 million. And that is a lot more than MGM traditionally has done pre-COVID. Net revenues are $983 million, so nearly $1 billion US for the quarter. That's 35% up on the fourth quarter in 2019, so the pre-COVID equivalent quarter, and the full year revenue $3.2 billion US. So a big increase in revenue, a big increase in EBITDA, a big increase in market share for MGM this year. It's something that everybody in Macau has been talking about. Ben, thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, MGM have spoken about repositioning their properties, MGM Macau and MGM Cotai, and various changes have made, but I think naturally we all know that the biggest difference that has happened is the addition of almost 200 new gaming tables, the only Macau concessionaire to get additional tables under the 10-year concessions they signed in December 2022. So that's made a massive difference to them, but, good on MGM, they're great results.
Well, yes, 198 extra tables to be precise, up to 750 tables of the 6,000 tables available in Macau under the new concessions. That's a 36% increase in tables. And as you say, the only concessionaire to get an increase, I think Sands lost 5 tables, so that's basically a break even. And all the others lost a larger number of tables. So Pansy Ho, whatever you did to get those extra tables, well done. Congratulations. I mean, that's your job as a leader of a company to help your company make money, and there's a fiduciary duty there. And I think perhaps Pansy's been very, very pro-China in recent years. I think we started mentioning that Pansy Ho was doing a pretty damn impressive job about 5 years ago. I think we started to mention that she sort of come out of her, been a lot more public, a lot more present. Well, certainly to international people like us, maybe it was always so to the Chinese, but Pansy's done well, and well done to people like Kenny Fung and to Hubert Wang, Tian there, and they've just done a great job in remodeling and redesigning and repositioning themselves. And the really interesting thing, I think, is, and you did it in your story, was the breakup between the Peninsula side and the Cotai side. It came out to be a 40-60 split. So the Cotai side only making 1.5 times the Peninsula side, yet the Peninsula side has, I think, something like triple the rooms and is obviously the newer property. Any comments on that, Ben?
Well, look, MGM Cotai has taken a while to ramp since opening, and MGM Macau has traditionally performed pretty strongly for what we call it a smaller property. It's not a small property, but compared to the Cotai properties, certainly. So, I guess MGM Cotai will be hoping to gradually grow that distance between its peninsula brother property, sister property, whichever you want to call it. So that's very interesting. The other thing that's interesting too is the market share. MGM China reported, I think, 16.3%, if I remember correctly, for 4Q, which is a record. But actually, they said on their earnings call that January market share was over 20%, which is pretty remarkable. I mean, even Bill Hornbuckle said he's not sure that's sustainable in the long term, but great performance.
Absolutely. So congratulations to MGM, and I think a few of the other concessionaires in Macau are grumbling a little bit about that and looking to catch up. So good luck to them too. Now, so that's the end of the stories that we're going to cover this week on The Run. A little bit of a different On The Run with the two of us here. Ben helped to save my voice a little bit. The run has been a long one. I've been on the road since 30th of December. In that time, I've gone Macau, Hong Kong, Melbourne, Adelaide, Hobart, Melbourne, Bangkok, London, Larnaca here to Paris, and then Larnaca here in Cyprus. And I'll be continuing on, as will you, Ben. You're just about to jump in the car to head to the airport back to Sydney.
I am directly, as soon as we finish this video, I'll be in a car on my way to Larnaca, through Dubai, back to Sydney for a little while, and then over to Macau, back to Sydney for a little while, then Philippines and Macau again, and plenty of travel.
Lots of travel for the IAG team this year, all of us. And, of course, we'll be at regulating the game March 10th to 15th in Sydney. That should be a good one. Paul Newsom's show that he does. Any comments on that one?
Well, look, he's got some pretty good speakers lined up. Kieran Carruthers, the CEO of Crown Resorts, is a keynote speaker at this event. Adam Reitenskild from Tabcorp will be there again. He spoke last year. He'll be speaking again this year. And dozens of expert speakers across many topics and workshops, and a number of really quality networking events too that Paul Newsom puts together. So really looking forward to that.
Yes, if you're a regular IAG viewer or reader, you'll notice that over the last year and a half or so, we've become a lot more international, a lot less Macau-centric. Not that we don't cover Macau. We're based in Macau, and Macau's our head office, but a lot more coverage of other markets like Australia and particularly the Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia. Here we are in Cyprus now. So my run continues. I'll be here a few more days, then heading myself on that same flight to Dubai and up to Incheon. I'm really looking forward to seeing Inspire. So we'll be meeting with our friends there. I'll be up in Korea for a week and then head up to Seoul for a night or two, I guess, and then down to Hong Kong, finally back to Macau towards the end of the month, which will be the end of 2 months on the road. Very long trip. So that's it from us here in Cyprus. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on The Run. Okay, bye for now. See ya.
Run.